Okay, so I gave you guys a great breakdown of why women break up with men. If there's any questions, let me know in the chat. I'll get back to each question. So next up we have how to get over a breakup. Okay. So, I've heard bullshit female coaches online saying that breakups affect women way more than it affects men. And, maybe the trauma affects women more than it affects a man. But I would say that a man, it definitely gets heartbroken way more than a woman does. And you guys might be thinking, why? Why do you say that? Well, men love a lot more unconditionally than women. We know women, they're not really going to get with a man who doesn't have a future, doesn't have a job, is a bum, not in physical shape a lot of times. They can. You're going to have to make up with it with other ways if you're out of physical shape. Maybe you got extra money or you have status or, you're simply just more funny and charismatic than the average man. But in general, women are going to have way more options, so it's going to be easier for them to move on. A man, you was unconditional with that woman. You had your boundaries, you had your standards, but really and truly, you really loved her for who she was. And that's going to hurt more. One, because it's more unconditional, like I said. And, it's going to be harder for you to get on the dating market again. That's the truth. Even if you are a 7 out of 10 guy and your ex-girlfriend was a 5 out of 10, say, it's still going to be way easier for her to move on. Even if it's just casually, she can at least go out there and fuck a guy who's probably even better looking than you straight away. You though, you're going to have to get back to the drawing board. You're going to have to be like, all right, where did I fuck up in that relationship? And where am I going to improve on in my life? And how am I going to go out there and get women? And how am I going to go and get a better woman? How am I going to make different changes and not make the same mistakes when it comes to picking and vetting your woman? Like I said to you guys, understand why she left and make sure never to make the same mistake again, right? Write it down if you have to. Write down everything that you need to do to make sure that your relationship is healthy. Next up, we have probably one of the most important, which, all red pill influencers say, and a majority of men agree with this. Get in the gym. The gym is where, you're going to turn that pain into gain. Every time, you're feeling down, you got a bit of hurt, you've just gone through a breakup, go sign up to a gym. If you ain't got the money to go sign up to a gym, which you fucking should, if you don't have money for a gym, you're fucking brokey, and you don't even deserve a fucking girlfriend, if you want me to be completely honest with you. If you can't afford to go gym, you never deserved a girlfriend, and you need to go back to the drawing board and get up your finances, which we're going to also speak about. However, gym. If you can't get in the gym, you got to go on hikes, do your press-ups, sit-ups, calisthenics, go find a bar. But preferably you want to get into a gym, do some weightlifting, do some cardio, figure out what's the weakest part of your body, how to strengthen that up. What kind of body type do you have? Are you slender and tall? Are you short and stocky? And figure out how your body is going to become more attractive. Me, myself, I'm 5'9". I would say I'm more the stocky type, right? So not right now. Right now, I would say I'm closer probably around like 20, 25, probably around 20% body fat. But I understand as someone who's 5'9" and who is stocky, I've really got to walk around at no more than 12, 13% body fat. I have to be ripped in order for me to look taller. Because if I just look like a bulk, then I'm going to look less attractive to females. It is what it is. The same way, if you're like really tall and lanky and you don't have much muscle mass, then you need to become stockier. You need to put on that muscle mass because right now you look like a twig and your girl might not see you as a protector. Just subconsciously. Women think like just subconsciously she'll look at you and be like, if I got attacked on the street, this guy ain't going to be able to do much. That's why I tell guys out there, even if you are in shape, you do have a great physique, it's always good to go out there and learn some combat fighting, whether it's boxing, any type of mixed martial art, karate, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu. You have to learn at least the bases, the basics of one martial art or combat sports. So become as attractive as possible. What do I mean by that? Well, the truth is a lot of you guys literally aren't in shape, stink, don't groom up properly, got long fucking toenails, yeah, bro. You know, a lot of you guys don't know how to groom up and, look after yourself properly. And what I say is you need to look in the mirror and go from top to bottom, just like a laser, right? It all starts from the hair first. Does your haircut suit your face? Does it suit your face structure and your body type? And you guys might be thinking, well, how do I know this shit, bro? Like, I don't know if I should have long hair or spiky hair or French crop or braids or a skin fade. Well, there's actually AI apps that you guys can go and see, but there's also a lot of guys they do it for a living, right? Their not appearance influence. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a word I'm looking for, but there's men out there who do well with women who are going to be able to tell you that, you know what, bro, you've got a square looking head, so you should really not have a higher fade. You should maybe drop your fade a little bit lower. Or if you've got like a more rounder head like myself, you want to get your fade a little higher so you don't look like you got like a bowling ball head, which if I did have a lower fade, I would look like a bowling ball. So yeah, start with your hair, go onto your skin. Your teeth are very important. Your nostril hairs, your ear hairs, your eyebrows, your beard. Does your beard suit your face? All the way down to your body. Is your body well groomed? Do you trim your armpit hairs? If you are going to keep your body hair, do you trim it? Do you wax your body? If you are ripped, I'd advise waxing. So you got to just go from top to bottom. Your nails, women look at every small detail. And like I said to you guys, we need to become the best version of ourselves. And it just doesn't go for finances. It just doesn't go for learning frame and, acquiring more game. It's everything, guys, everything. And even though women are not physical creatures as much as us, physical is still important to them. So yeah, groom up, everything. Your hygiene is extremely important. Make sure you don't smell. Make sure your toenails, your hand nails are clean. Everything, bro. Like literally, like I said, look in the mirror and just pretend there's a laser going through your whole body and you're like, all right, cool. What's the next thing I need to work on? Okay, and also understanding what arouses women. A lot of times women turn around and they say what they're attracted to, which a lot of times is lies. I want a guy who's kind and giving and, who's going to hype me up constantly. And a lot of times they're not the type of guys that they go for. What you guys need to realize is not what women say, but what women do. Who do women date? A lot of times women date guys who are arseholes, right? You guys have seen that in probably your experience. Maybe in school you saw it, in college, even in your dating life as an adult. Women tend to go for arseholes. Goes back to that psychology of a man telling a woman in a way where it's not directly telling her, but mentally telling her, like, I'm better than you. Women are sexist way more than us. Sexism benefits women. Women do not want to date equals. There's this whole thing, like this, egalitarianism thing. Yeah, egalitarianism of like women and men thinking that they want to be equally yoked. That's just bullshit. Women don't go for men that they're equal to. Women always go for superior men. A man who can teach her, a man who's stronger than her, taller than her. Even if she can get a man who's better looking than her, she will. A man who's got more finances than her. So guys, stop thinking like Fred in my chat was thinking like, women do not want a man who's equal to them. That is a lie that feminism has pushed, and it's bullshit, bro. It's straight up bullshit. As Khabib will say, number one bullshit. So understand what arouses women. Dark traits, that's what arouses women. And I don't mean you need to be an arsehole all the time. That's not what women like either. If a woman's not going to see a big heart and see a kind side to you, she's not going to like you either. If you're an arsehole all the time, no. What I mean about being an arsehole is you need to be assertive and have standards and boundaries at the right times as a man. So, you need to be able to tell her sometimes, you know what? I heard you say something before and, there was people around and I didn't want to say something in front of everyone, but there's something you said that I didn't like. And this is why I didn't like it. Communicate with her very assertively and very bluntly and be honest with her. And you'll be surprised how many times women will actually react well to it, because when you've got a woman trying to qualify for you, that's when it works, my G's. It doesn't work the other way around. When you're trying to qualify for a woman, ain't gonna work. She's just gonna see you as, just another simp in her DMs, another simp that's just trying to get her attention. So make sure that women are qualifying for you. Tell women your standards. Tell women your boundaries. Yeah. And a lot of times they're gonna work hard to make sure that they meet those boundaries and standards. Make sure you have a purpose in life. A purpose will definitely get you over your breakup. What do you want to do in life? What makes you happy? But not only what makes you happy also has to have potential of bringing you finances and a future career. Like a lot of people, here in LA we live, and you have guys who are like deep in their 30s and they're still saying, nah, bro, I want to be a rapper. I'm going to be a rapper, bro. And it takes a man like me to turn around to you guys and be like, bruv, like, you're fucking delusional, bro. And sometimes I don't even say it because I can see that the guy's just too far gone. And look, I'm not saying that a guy can't make it in music in his late 30s, but if you're a man and you think you're going to be a rapper or a musician, let's say, and you are in your late 30s, you have to have plan B. You have to have something in the background, something on the side where you're going to make sure that if things don't go well in music, if you don't become a rapper or a musician, you can fall back to your other career that's going to make sure that you're not going to end up a brokey. And a lot of, guys in LA, they're like, no, I'm going to be a musician. I'm going to be a rapper. They have no plan B. And yeah, bro, it's just disaster. So make sure you have a real purpose that's gonna bring you a real income and a real future. And the last thing to how to get over a breakup is chill with the mandem. Chill with the boys, man. A lot of times your boys will help you get over a breakup. Chilling with the boys, having a laugh, doing masculine things like going out there, shooting, playing sports, competing against each other, whether it's poker, chess, whatever it is, swimming, whatever it is. Men always help other men get over breakups. And listen, if you have a true masculine male friend in your life and he's super honest, he's also going to give you great advice on to getting past your breakup and also how to vet women and choosing a better woman going into the future. All right, cool. So that was how to get over a breakup. Next up, I have how to move on and date again. Like we said, and I know I'm repeating myself on a lot of these points because, a lot of the points they overlap each other. It goes into each other. It's like a cycle, right? And if you get this cycle correct, you're going to be able to navigate around women, pick which women you want to deal with, and not have to deal with fuckery to the fullest. Am I saying that women at the top don't deal with fuckery? Listen, bro. Even your Dan Bilzerians, Andrew Tates, Tom Hardy's, Brad Pitt's, Leonardo DiCaprio's, fucking Anthony Joshua's, even the top tier men who have all the women chasing them, I guarantee you, bro, they deal with female fuckery too. Yeah? Now, like I said, you got to become the best version of yourself. And you have time to do that. You don't have to rush into a relationship how women rush into relationships. Like even me now, I wouldn't say I'm panicking at all, but I'd like to meet a great woman. But at the end of the day, I still do understand that if I really wanted to, I can carry on going, making more finances, working on my status, working on my all the traits that make a great man, and really and truly go and settle down when I turn 40. And still go and get a beautiful 21-year-old if I really wanted to at 40 years old. That's the truth. We don't have a clock like women have a clock, right? Women have a clock from 18 to 24 where they're the most attractive, and you men who are great want to go for that age bracket, right? But the truth is, as women get into their late 20s, early 30s, late 30s, early 40s, by that time they're pretty cooked, bro. And the kind of men that they want, the kind of men they want don't want them back. And they'll never say it, they'll never admit to it, but it's the fucking truth. And you guys saw me talk about this on my stories yesterday and the day before. It's the truth, bro. Women are never going to admit it. That's why they shame you for liking younger women, because they understand as a man gets older, his value only gets higher. Does that mean I'm better looking now than I was when I was younger? No. I would actually say I was way better looking at 20 than I am right now. Maybe I wasn't in as great physical shape, like as strong as a man, but I was better looking as a face. But women don't go for just physique. Women go for the complete package. Us men, we're physical creatures. So for us, beauty is the main thing. Women understand this. That's like why I said yesterday, there's a shop called Forever 21. It's not called Forever 31 because women want to stay Forever 21. That's why they go spend shitloads on surgery, cosmetics, tons of makeup they wear. They use filters to make themselves look younger. Women understand that their value predominantly comes from their beauty. Is it completely their beauty? No. But it's the first thing that gets their foot through the front door. In other words, you could be a virgin. You could cook the best meals, give your man massages, be a very traditional woman who's come from a great household with a masculine father. However, if you're a fat bitch, no one's going to want you still. Like, you still got to go out there, lose weight and be attractive as a woman for you to be able to get your foot through the front door with a great man. So, like I said, men, go work on yourselves. You have time, but you don't have time. Yeah. In other words, you can become, there's men who might be watching me who are 30 years old now. You guys might be brokies at 30. My G, you can still go out there and completely U-turn and change your life. Go out there, make serious money within the next 3-4 years. Get into a field where it makes 6 figures a year at least. Start hustling harder on the side, building yourself up more to you investing into a side project and even becoming an entrepreneur. As a man, you can go out there and have a later prime, right? Me, myself, I used to feel like I was always missing out. The fear of missing out when I was in like my late teens and my early 20s. And I didn't understand this as a man. And I would even say that I actually become successful pretty early in my life, which is not always great for men. I tell you guys, it bit me in my ass. I wasted a lot of finances becoming very successful too early in my life. I didn't respect the money so much. Maybe I earned it a little too easy. Like I said, as men, we do have time. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you go out there and start playing video games and fucking around in your early 20s. No, my G's. If I tell you got time, that means like you have time, but you got to still start right now. There's competition everywhere. That girl that you like, there's 100 other dudes trying to get that girl that you like. So you've got to literally differentiate from all those other guys. You've got to be better than all those guys. How can you do that? You've got to go out there, learn female nature. In your early 20s, your late teens, go out there, sleep with women, but don't chase women. So don't waste resources and time chasing women. But yeah, if a chick comes along, she wants to fuck you, fuck her. Live and learn. Learn what women like and what did work for you, what didn't work for you. Oh shit, I called this girl beautiful and I gave her a little bit too much of a compliment. And then instead of her showing me gratitude, she didn't message me back until 2 days later or something. I'm just giving you guys an example, right? You're going to learn from these situations yourself. Even better than you're going to learn from me. Even though there's a quote I like where they say, a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. You don't really have to always live it yourself to learn the mistake. You can see it in other people. You can see a friend. I'm here advising you guys. But ultimately, live and learn with women. Go out there, physical shape as young as possible. Acquire finances as young as possible. Don't watch porn. Masturbation is for weak men. Don't watch porn. And I know it's very, very addictive. I was definitely addicted to it when I was young. Bro, I'm not shameful enough. I'll tell you guys straight. I don't care. I don't need to lie. Definitely done it 4 or 5 times in a day before. Do you know what I'm saying? It comes with so many negatives that you don't even realize. When you masturbate and watch porn, you putting women on a pedestal and then when you end up going face to face to a woman, you don't even have the confidence and you don't it's like you become nervous and anxious when it actually becomes a real life thing. You don't want to become like that, bro. Go out there, walk up to women that even are way past your tier, you think, and try and chat them up. What's the worst that's gonna happen? They're gonna say no. They're gonna reject you. Who gives a fuck, bro? You're more than likely never gonna see that chick again. And guess what? If you work on yourself and you do see that chick again, believe me, it's happened to me in my past where, you know, I might have reached out to a girl. She didn't want me to pursue her, or she didn't want to entertain me. And then maybe like 6-7 months later, she slides into my DMs, or she sees me out and she tries to talk to me. And, you know, it feels amazing to be able to be like, yeah, nah, I'm good. You know, you don't have to say it like that, but, you know, you're telling her that, yeah, you know what, maybe you tell her that you're seeing someone or you're not interested. I'd just rather be upfront and just tell her, yeah, you're not interested. All right, cool. So being in the right mental place, that's another reason why I don't believe young men should jump into relationships. Does that mean if you're 24, 25 and you meet yourself an 18, 19, 20-year-old beautiful girl and you think, oh, bro, like she's a gem, and you do semi-have your shit together, maybe you're on the way to being a 6-figure earner, yeah, date her, man. I'm not saying to you never do it, but I'm just saying you don't have to. You don't have to rush into it. You have time on your side, but you don't have time on your side on becoming that 1% man. How many men really become that 1% man? Not many, right? To become that 1% man is very hard. It takes blood, sweat, and tears, and it takes years. That's why playboys, you know, that's why we look at people like Andrew Tate and Dan Bilzerian, and what do we call them? Top G, playboy. Do you get what I'm saying? We don't even shame them. Why? Because it's hard work for a man to become to the point where he can fuck any woman he wants and get multiple amount of women. But women, it's very easy for them to get a man. That's why we call them slags. That's why we call them 304s and whores. Because if a woman's going out there and she's just fucking loads of dudes, she's just giving up her value, which is very easy for her to do. It's not respected. It's the difference between a trust fund kid and a self-made millionaire. If you have a friend, you had 2 friends, and you had one who was a self-made millionaire and the other guy who was a trust fund kid, whose advice would you really take more seriously? Tell me, would it be the trust fund kid? No, right? Why? Because he didn't have to earn it. And that's why I say women live life on easy mode. From 18 years old, a woman can go out there, get on yachts with multi-millionaires, date millionaires, network. She can even go out there and do sex work and make millions and hundreds of thousands if she wanted to. Like, women literally in 2025, women have their, you know, their life, their world is their oyster. Yeah. So they can do pretty much anything they want when women are young. When we're young, let's be honest, bro. Like, I was an 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old Chad, and I pretty much still fucked any woman I wanted to. However, I couldn't have a successful relationship then. You know, I did get turned down here and there. Like, there was things I had to learn from. Like, at 18, 19, 20 as a man, there's so many things you need to go through, man. That's the truth. So, we have time, women don't. That's why older women will shame you as an older man for liking younger women. That's the truth. That's why I even had that woman trying to troll me on Instagram the other day. All right, finances, physique, mental, frame, knowledge, being mysterious. Don't tell women everything. Let women learn more and more about you as time goes on. You tell women everything from the get-go, women like love a bit of mysteriousness. And I'll tell you an example of this, right? So if you go back 4 years ago, I never used to show myself, if you remember. I'd cover my face on my Instagram. And I would say, even though I do get female attention on IG, nowhere near as much as women would get. I'll tell you, like I said to you, even an ugly girl gets way more attention than I'd get on Instagram, right? But even back in the day, even though I was overweight and, you know, I was I was in the same place in my life, I would say I understand the world a little bit more now, but maybe I had a little bit more finances then. However, I was fat and out of shape, but I would get more female attention. Why? Because I'd hide my face. I wouldn't show my life completely. I wouldn't talk as an influencer. Like, even me talking to you guys now and uncovering all these truths, it kind of bites me in my ass as a man when it comes to me, myself dating. But I don't give a fuck. I know in the end I'll be good, and I'd rather help the men out there. So, guys, be mysterious. Don't tell women everything, you know, let women uncover you like a book slowly. And build standards and boundaries. Understand what you'd like, what you want from a woman. Me personally, like I say, I want a woman with, I wouldn't say no body count. Oh, I'd love a woman with no body count, obviously, but I understand we live in the West. It's going to be very unlikely. So I'd say it's close to no body count. A woman who doesn't have to be able to cook, but she wants to learn to cook. Yeah, so like, you know, a girl who's going to take classes, obviously I'll pay for the classes, sit there in the kitchen, trial and test different dishes. A woman who actually has the passion to get in the kitchen and cook you a great meal. A woman who's hygienic. A woman who's fit and wants to work out and take care of herself. A woman who comes from a good family. Doesn't have to be, but preferably you want a woman who comes from a good family with a masculine and great brother in her life. Someone who she had a male influence in her life. So, because a lot of times women don't have good males in their lives. They just simply don't respect men. A woman who's willing to be submissive to the right man and listen. It's wild to me how many women turn around and say, I want a leader. There's no men who are leaders out there. Where are all the leaders? But then when it's time for her to fucking listen, she don't want to listen, which for me is like wild work. You want a leader, but you don't want to listen. How does that work? You want a man who's responsible for you without no authority. Does not work. Understanding what type of woman is worth it. Like I told you guys a few of the traits that I'm looking for. I have bonus traits as well. You know, like I want a girl who's unvaccinated as well. That's another thing. However, I do have bonus traits. For example, I prefer a girl who's 5 foot to 5'4". However, it's not a must. Same way with, I'd prefer a Greek girl so I can keep my children pedigree. Even though I do want multiple women, I reckon I'm not proper set in stone, but I think in the future I do want to have multiple women with multiple families. Without having no casual sex, I prefer that. But yeah, understanding what type of woman is worth it and vetting her properly, man. Vetting her properly. Guys, wouldn't you say that you respect and you're more into a woman who kind of makes you work for the sex a little bit? Like, think about it. If you fuck a woman instantly, and I'm not saying that it's always a bad thing. I know a lot of good relationships that have happened through guys and girls like fucking pretty early in life. And I'll be honest with you, I think me and my ex, it wasn't like the first few times, but it still happened, I think the third or fourth time. It was pretty early on. And she was my only ever girlfriend, and I would call it a successful relationship, even though there was an end to it. But, you know, we're still good friends now, and there was way more positives than negatives. But yeah, you need to make her work for it. Just like she shouldn't really make you work for sex. You need to make her work for a relationship. You don't just find the girl of your dreams and just be like, yeah, like, you ready to be my girl now? No, man, you got to make her work for it. Slowly. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if she sees you as a challenge, that's when she's going to value you a lot more. And she's also going to feel more special in the future, because she's going to be like, oh shit, like, he really put me through it before he qualified me as to be his girlfriend. Or, you know, he has so many options through so many different girls, but he picked me. So yeah, picking women and vetting them, that's important. And that's basically my conclusion. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And if you guys want to know why we're in such a mess in the dating market, it's simply because we don't shame people no more. We do now. I think shame's come back into, like, you know, society. I'm seeing a lot of like Gen Z and like the new, like, you know, the young guys and the young girls. They're definitely a lot more conservative. You're a lot more shamed for having OnlyFans or being a promiscuous girl. A lot more religious, I'd say. So I would say things are going back to how they should be. But my generation was cooked. And I remember even me growing up, when I was 25, I would never date a girl who was even 24 or 23, because I was shamed for it. Like, even having a girl who was like even a year or two younger. Feminism and social media literally took the masculinity out of men, shamed them for being masculine, shamed them for what they like. You know, we want to go out there and say that we want a woman without a past. Oh, we're fucking misogynist. But when a woman turns around and says she wants a man who makes 6 figures and is 6 foot, that's completely fine. That's fucking bullshit. Yeah. So man's boundaries and standards demonized. women's boundaries and standards glamorized, and it's bullshit. So why are we in this mess? Feminism and social media. Social media because women think the grass is greener on the other side all the time. They've got so many options. And, you know, feminism is literally the cancer of the world, which I'll break down in the future. Maybe we'll do a stream where I'll talk about feminism as a whole. But yeah, that's my breakdown on how to bounce back from breakups, guys. I hope I gave you guys tons of value when it comes to breakups and understanding female nature. We're obviously going to have way more dating content coming out in the future, but I think I gave you guys a good basic 101 of dating just now. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch more clips like that, click here. Or if you want to watch the full stream, click here.